Well, when it came time for Ben Tankard to pick a college, he had 35 scholarship offers for basketball and 30 others for playing the tuba. Who knew? He's a true Renaissance man, and if you want to know his secret, it's because he lives a full tank life.
Ben Tankard is the king of Tankard Palace on Bravo TV's Thicker Than Water. He's also the godfather of gospel jazz music, a former NBA star, and a motivational speaker. With his many talents, Ben says he's doing what he was born to do. In his book, Full Tank Life, Ben shares the changes to make in your daily routine that clear you for takeoff and fuel your dreams.
Well, Ben Tankard is here with us now, and Ben, we welcome you to the 700 Club. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. You're so sweet.
You know, we're talking about all of the wonderful blessings and successes and victories that you've had in your life, but I want you to talk about your beginnings, because sometimes we let the stuff that happens around us define us. And that didn't happen for you, but your beginnings were lean.
Oh, yes. We were very, very poor when I grew up. I was 6'6" by the time I was in the 6th grade.
Wow.
And so I'm 18 inches taller than the rest of the class. And they're saying, you know, Tank, how many years did you stay back? You know, I'm like, I'm not dumb, I'm just tall. But we were very, very poor. Public assistance, powdered eggs, powdered milk, hamburger helper without the hamburger. And I thought that my way out of the ghetto would be pro basketball. But I was a tuba player. So I loved the music, but I liked the basketball. But the basketball was just because I was tall.
Well, I mean, that would seem logical. You know, anyone seeing a young guy that's got that kind of height as part of his gift would say, NBA.
My parents, they didn't help matters, because, you know, we were so poor that when I wanted to choose between the basketball and the tuba scholarship, I want to go with the tuba.
Yeah, well, I love what your dad said. What did he say to you? Something about...
He said, son, we're black, you're tall, we're poor, play ball.
A wise man, you know.
And so I went the basketball route, not because that was my true heart. I went the basketball route because I felt like that would be a meal ticket.
Yeah.
And I went to college, dropped out after 1 year, went pro in the minor league. Yeah. Here I am with an opportunity to work out with Jack Ramsey, the coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. If I can just get through this camp, I might be the guy coming off the bench behind Clyde the Glide. Who knows? But I got injured.
Yeah, early on.
I injured in camp, and they cut me from the team. So here I am with no education, no money, and a Jerry curl.
Wow. You know, I want you to talk about what happened to you then, because you were alone in a dark room. I mean, you know, you've got to feel like you played all your cards, and this is what you're left with. And everybody can look back and have thoughts about, gee, if I could do it over again. But what happened to you in that dark room?
Well, you know, I felt kind of like I'm on my own cross, and God, why hast thou forsaken me? Yeah. You know, that's how I felt. But I had enough sense to get myself up and go to church, because I was born in church. My parents were ministers, but I never accepted the Lord for myself because I was just kind of living off their wings. But away from home, nothing to turn to except God. You know, I decided, let me try this. I went to church really to get something to eat. I knew they would have chicken dinners. And went to get a chicken sandwich and messed around and got saved.
Wow.
And the minister called me up and told me to put my hands on the keys. I had never played keyboard. I had played tuba. So I'm like, why is he praying for me? That was just a
prophetic move on his part to call you forth to do that.
And he tells me to put my hands on the keys by faith because God has a new destiny for me. I'm like, what is this guy
Did he know your
about?
Music background at all?
He knew nothing except that I was this former basketball player that hobbled into this church.
Wow.
And I put my hands on the keys, and I began to play the first time like a professional jazz musician in church.
Wow.
And I didn't know if it came that night or if it was in me the whole time.
Wow.
But if it was in me the whole time, I wouldn't have known it because I was chasing a basketball.
Yeah, wow.
And you know, my mission in life has been to encourage people that are at that crossroads that don't know what they're supposed to be when they grow up. There is life after death, and I'm the biggest failure in the room. But God blessed me. I mean, I've had 2 divorces, I've had bankruptcy, I've had my parents both die within a year of one another.
Wow.
But now.
But now, thicker than water.
hit TV show with a blended family, great wife, Jewel, 5 kids, 3 grandkids. I'm a pilot. I fly my own airplanes to my concerts. You know, my music is played in every country. I am happier than a witch in a broom factory with a 90% off coupon.
What do you say to people who are, you know, we get questions like this all the time here on our Bring It On segment. How do I find out what my destiny, what my purpose in life is? What do you say to people who'd say that?
Look at your left hand and put in that left hand what makes you tick. Yeah. What do you like? What do you lose time doing? You know, it just times get away from you because you love it. And that makes you tick. Then look in this hand and what makes you ticked, what makes you mad. Yeah. For me, I love music and motivation. And here I hate poverty and sickness and depression. So somewhere between what makes you tick and what makes you ticked is your purpose. Wow. That's where you find it.
You know, you could have missed yours. And that's true for a lot of us. We pursue our dream rather than asking God, what did you create me with in mind?
I think we get caught up with Goliath, but I don't think Goliath was sent to defeat David. I believe Goliath was sent to make David famous. Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
So the bigger the problem, the bigger the victory on the backside of that problem. Yeah. You know, Jesus died and there was life after that death. There was life after the death of my basketball career. Had I known that God had all this planned for me, I would have never dressed out for PE. Yeah.
You'd have gotten there sooner.
Absolutely. You know, I was hijacked by my own dreams, which were not really God's plan for me.
But maybe that's part of the struggle because it brings us to surrender, do you think?
Absolutely. And I think in times of depression, in times of confusion, that's where our character is developed because riches can be deceitful.
Ooh, maybe the worst, yeah.
And when I'm, as a motivational speaker, I speak to NBA players, and the reason they asked me to come talk to the players is that they said it takes somebody with money to tell somebody with money that it's not about the money.
Yeah, boy, that's the truth. That's the truth. God has given you an amazing platform, an amazing gift on many levels, but music is one of them. So I'm going to let you go get ready because you're going to give us a treat today.
Absolutely.
So if you'll go get ready to play, Ben, I want to tell people about your book. The book is called The Full Tank Life. Fuel your dreams and ignite your destiny. It's available nationwide. And don't forget to check your local listing for air dates and times for Thicker Than Water. And lastly, for more, check out Ben's latest CD. It's called Full Tank 2.0, and it's available for purchase or download wherever music is sold. But now, to play us to break, here is the very gifted Ben Tankard with How Great Is Our God.